Now we want to go with auto constraining. So it's also possible to create constraints automatically using intelligent algorithms. And in this specific drawing, we can do that by going to the parametric tab again in the ribbon. But at this time, we go to the rightmost side, and there is auto constraint. But before we do that, we want to delete whatever we have already created. So let's just delete and select the geometry that we have and just enter. And all the 2D constraints have now been deleted. So you see your mechanical browser also is now empty because you have deleted the constraints. So before using auto constraint, let's just move these entities to the bottom left corner. So let's just move that. So how to move that? Just use move, but we want to move this to the 0, 0, 0 point. How to do this? Just type in the hash and then 0, 0, 0. Enter, and it will automatically move to that point. Okay, so now we can use auto constraint. You can either type auto constraint or just click auto constraint icon here in the ribbon. So once you click auto constraint, it will ask you to select which entities, and let's just select everything here. Once we enter, all the constraints would have been created for us, and your mechanical browser will now have input again. So that's automatically created with the expressions. So it's still possible to add or remove constraints manually, but now let's just add a fixed constraint to the bottom left corner here. So fixed constraint is this, the lock icon again. Bottom left angle of the drawing, which is here. Okay, and that fixes added. So notice that the structure of constraints and parameters is a bit different from what we originally did when we were doing the manual way, but basically the results are the same. So let's go to one of the parameters here. We have P1, and we can change the expression for this. This is like an equation for the expression. Let's change that to something that's connected to P2. So we can use P underscore 2, which is a 40 here, and then multiply this by 0.5 and enter. So that one will be automatically related now to P2. So if we change P2, it will affect P1. So how do we now use another panel that we have in relation to the mechanical browser? There is another panel here called parameters and constraints. So let's open that. This is here on the right side. You would see this icon, parameters and constraints panel. And if you can't find it, again, like the mechanical browser, you can just right click, go to panels and find parameters and constraints. So that will be here. Okay, so the parameters and constraints panel will list all parameters and dimensional constraints for you. So they're all just listed down there. It displays the name, the expression, the value, and whether it's exposed or meaning it's going to be displayed. So we see here by default that we have one parameter here, and whether they're exposed or not. So we have these listed down here, as well as the mechanical browser. So they're correlated with each other. So let us just find one here that we might want to change the name to make it more sensible for us and easily recognizable when we are changing the parameters eventually for this entity. So let us change the length parameter, which is let us change this d4 into length y, length underscore y. So that will be the length. Maybe 220 d3 can be our length x underscore x. So there. So while you're changing it here, you would see that it's also being changed in the mechanical browser. And then let's also change one more, which is the width. And let's change P2 because P2 is our width. Okay. So that's also reflected here. So what other things can we change? You can change the values of these. Again, similarly, like the one in the mechanical browser. Okay. Okay, so that's basically that for the constraints part of our